Girl, the reason you are not in life where you want to be is not because of your ex, it's not because of your parents, it's not because of the economy, it's not because of where you're from, it's not because of your circumstances. You are where you are in life because of you. It's all on you. And it might be very triggering and harsh to hear, but hear me out. This video is not about blaming you. This video is about radical responsibility and taking your fucking power back. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kinga. So today I want to talk about radical responsibility and how to win in life. I believe in life we have two attitudes. You either can be a person who lives in victimhood or a person with a solid mindset who takes radical responsibility for their life. And I would probably say majority of people live in deep victimhood. They're literally professional victims. Person in victim mentality is very externally focused. They focused on blaming their people, places, and situations in their life for what is happening to them. They have a poor me narrative, and by blaming everybody else, they actually giving their power away because they see life as happening to them, and they're like the poor little victim that have no control over the life. It's just all this bad stuff is happening to them and it's not their fault. So what you hear from the victim is, I am where I am because of my parents. My parents didn't support me. They supported my brother or sister. Oh, my ex did this to me. That's why I couldn't do X, Y, and Z. Oh, the economy is this, so I couldn't, build a business. And it's always finding excuses and finding blame. Energy of a victim is very heavily externally invested. They literally put their life force into everybody else, into blame. And they also have a very distorted self-image. They don't really see themselves for who they are. They very easily find flaws in everybody else. Everybody is the problem, but not them. And the thing is, if you blame your dad, or if you for being a narcissist, or you blame your ex, then your energy is in that person. You feeding the pendulum of that person. Your life force is into them, not in you. So your life actually go backwards because you are putting all your power into them and you make them more powerful. But you want to take this power back. You want to take this power to create your life. So stop analyzing, focusing on everybody else, worrying, excusing, and focus on you. Put that energy into you. And the thing is, you can blame, your parents and your ex for the trauma they gave you all day long, or you can decide that the trauma is not going to dictate who you're going to be and what you're going to create in life. So take responsibility and take your power back, because on the other side of the spectrum, there is a person with a solid mindset, with self-honesty and radical responsibility. And they take 100% responsibility for their life, for everything that happened. And they don't focus on blaming. And because they don't blame, that gives them power. That gives them control over their life and what they create in their life. And that is a truly winning mindset, because if you see yourself as a person who's 100% responsible and in control of the life, you know that whatever happens to you, whatever shit, dysfunction, or case that ever happens to you, you know you can turn it into something good. You know that nothing can keep you down and you always come on top. And that is a winner mindset, because I think we forget we on the planet Earth, which is the planet of the evolution. This is not a planet of instant gratification, and anything that ever happens to us is actually for our best, for our greatest good, because what we think is shit is happening to us, it's actually for our evolution and to make us a better human. And a person with a radical responsibility will see this as an opportunity for growth. A victim would use this as an opportunity to complain and blame and don't do anything productive in their life. So now is the time to take your power back. Get out of your victimhood. Stop being a victim. Stop putting your energy into blaming, excusing, worrying, doubting, lacking, and put that life force and that energy into you, into creating your best life. Because when you leaking the energy into everybody else, into finding blame and excuse, you're not creating your life. You actually become a victim to life. Even think, if you have this, let's say, person you blame for your life, let's say, I don't know, could be your dad or could be your ex, and you think how much energy you spend thinking about them, blaming them, and that energy actually makes them more powerful because your life force goes into them. But you want to take that energy back and put it back into you. You want that power. You want that power to create your life. So this is the key moment for you to decide, do I want to be a professional victim, or do I want to use all that pain to motivate me and to create my life? There is a difference between those two mindsets when it comes to creating and achieving your goals. A person who lives in victimhood, they do not achieve their goals because they're just too busy blaming everybody else. They're just so deep in victimhood, they don't see themselves as the problem. Everybody is the problem, but not them. They don't see themselves for who they are. They don't see themselves as a person who's actually dishonest, who is unreliable, who's lazy, who's lacking growth, who doesn't follow through, who starts and stops, who's inconsistent, and always in the comfort zone. Because when you're so deep in the victimhood, and that gives you the escape from the accountability and responsibility, that gives you the excuse for why you're sleeping in, why you spend hours scrolling on social media, why you spend so much time watching Netflix, why you're not following through on your goals, why you're not spending time building your business or building your skills. And then you wonder why your life is not changing, because you're doing nothing to create your goals and create your life. On the other hand, the self-responsible adult with maturity, with solid mindset, with radical honesty, they achieve their goals because they're actively looking at and taking responsibility for their thoughts, for their feelings, for their patterns, for their loops, for their behaviors, for their habits, for their skills. And they put their life force into themselves. They putting the energy into them. They don't waste their precious energy on focusing and blaming other people and finding excuses. That all of the energy goes into them and creating their life. That's why they achieve their goals. And this is where I have a bit of a problem with a love and light community. Even though I absolutely love manifestation, because manifestation is how I got into this whole mindset work. But I feel like you can be doing the work, the manifestation work, which is like scripting, visualizing, speaking affirmations, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, I'm doing the work, I'm trying to change my life. But the problem is you're not actually reviewing yourself. You're not looking at yourself properly. You're not looking at your weaknesses. You're not looking at the skills that you should be building, the traits that you need to build within yourself, the habits that you need to build, because you don't, within the love and light community and spirituality, you don't look at your weaknesses. You only focus on the strengths. And when you're not reviewing yourself properly and seeing yourself for who you are, you're just being stuck. You might be still spending a lot of time finding excuses and blaming, but you're not able even to catch that pattern within yourself because you're not spending any time reviewing your patterns, your behaviors, your habits. So you could be doing all the work thinking, why am I still stuck? And let's say you want to make 100 grand a month, right? And you could be saying affirmations, I'm a millionaire, until you blue in the face. But if you are not sending emails, if you're not putting yourself online, if you're not creating content, and if you're watching Netflix instead and scrolling on social media, no wonder you're not hitting that goal. It's because you're using really spirituality as an avoidance tactic, because you think that you're doing some spiritual work. That means that you're going towards your goals, but you're lacking this radical responsibility and self-honesty, and that's what's keeping you stuck. I feel the phrase which is being abused and overused is procrastination. A lot of people say, oh, I procrastinate, I know I have this goal, but I just don't know what to do, right? The thing is, deep down, you know what to do. You know you should be going to the gym. You know you should be eating healthy. You know you should be building your skills. You know you should be posting. You know you should be sending emails. You know you should be creating content rather than consuming. You know you should be stop watching so much Netflix and scrolling so much. But you rather say you procrastinate because it's like a good excuse, right? It doesn't sound as bad. Oh, I'm just lazy and I can't be fucked doing things. This procrastination narrative just basically gives you excuse for your lack of growth, for your laziness, and for the lack of progress in your life. You might be surprised to hear, but actually being a victim and living in struggle is very addictive. There is a secondary gain to this behavior. Because we as humans, we don't do anything unless we have benefit from it. So if you're a victim and if you live in struggle, that means that you receive benefits from that behavior. There's a secondary gain behind it. And one of the most obvious one, if you're a victim and bad shit happens to you, and if you have a sad story, you receive a sympathy from other people. And we as humans, especially when we're hating, we love sympathy. We love getting attention. We love feeling looked after and other people worrying for us. Victimhood also gives relief and escape from accountability and responsibility. If you're a victim and bad shit happened to you, you don't have to look like why months are passing and there's no results in your business, why you watch so much Netflix, why you don't go to the gym, why you have bad habits, why you spend so much time on FaceTime, why your patterns keep repeating. You just don't get to look at yourself and look at your weaknesses and your negative patterns. It's just the perfect way to avoid responsibility and accountability. Because if you're a victim and bad shit happened to you, you don't have to review your results that months are passing and nothing has really changed in your business or in your life. You don't have to review how much time you spend on Netflix or scrolling on social media, why you're not going to the gym, why patterns and loops are just repeating all the time. You don't get to question yourself why you've not read that book or you haven't built your skill because you're a victim, because you're a professional victim. When you're using the victimhood and struggle as an excuse, you don't need to look at your own inadequacy. You don't need to look like what are you lacking, what skills, habits, traits you need to build within yourself to succeed. So you don't actually get to face yourself with all your weaknesses and points to improve. You also might be surprised, but victimhood and struggle gives you very addictive emotional hits. You're actually addicted to that. It's like a drug of your choice. You probably tell yourself, oh, I have a realistic things to worry about. That thing or that person, it's a real thing in my life. So I have things to worry about, to analyze, to doubt, to be lacking things in my life, because that's obviously a way of being in touch with reality. All of this blaming, worrying, doubting yourself, lacking, excusing, it's basically a distraction method from doing the actual work and feeling good. Because the thing is, if we actually put our energy into feeling good, then we would have the energy to be inspired, to follow those inspirations, to create the products, the service, and have full confidence and faith in them. But we're just so addicted to mentally abusing ourselves with negative thoughts, negative patterns, with blame, with worrying. It's literally like destroying our positive life force. I feel like we're getting so caught up with our lives, with the struggle, with being the victim, with worrying, that we actually forget that this life is about evolution and improving ourselves. This planet is the planet of evolution, of improving ourselves as a human, of improving our skills, our focus, our ability to be consistent, our emotional resilience, our emotional maturity, our skill level, our creativity. Because the truth is, if you want big things in life, like big business, big success, big money, big love, big personal brand, we need to improve and evolve ourselves to be matched for those things. That's why I'm very obsessed, not just with manifestation work, because I think it can be very surface level. I'm obsessed with the deep inner work, with the shadow work, because that work doesn't avoid looking at the weaknesses, reviewing your patterns, your loops, looking at what you need to build within yourself, the traits, the skill, the habits, and having this real honesty and responsibility for yourself. And where is responsibility and honesty, there is growth. And where is growth, I'm gonna improve my skill, I'm gonna improve myself as a human, my discipline, my focus, my emotional maturity, my resilience, my consistency. The most uncomfortable, but also the most freeing and empowering truth is that if you don't have yet the level of success, the level of money, the level of personal achievement in your life, the level of success, it's on you. But it doesn't mean it's too late. It's not too late. You can still create this. So take full responsibility for your life, own that truth, and you can absolutely achieve amazing things in your life. So put your life force and your energy into you. Be your number one priority. Give the pure self devotion to your purpose, because when you are a victim and you putting your energy into other people, what they're not doing right, why things are going wrong, you draining your life force out. And you basically draining yourself out of the most precious resource, your personal power, and you are avoiding your purpose and using victimhood as a perfect distraction. So unplug that energy from that person, that thing, that situation, and put that energy into your soul purpose, into your passion, into your sovereignty. Put that energy into you, your passion, your purpose, your authenticity, and it will create your life. And you don't have to do huge things straight away. You can even ask yourself, what is this one thing, circumstance, person that I blame for not being where I want to be, and actually take responsibility for it and see how you can improve this. And that one decision, that one action you take, and you compound and you stick to your word and you follow through on what you promised yourself you're gonna do. That's how you build confidence, and that's how you build self-worth. We don't build self-worth through affirmations. We build self-worth for being true to our word, for being true to ourselves, through having our own back. So the massive breakthroughs are not created through this one big action. No, they created through small choices every single day, when you're choosing yourself, when you're choosing responsibility, when you're choosing accountability. And then you will look and you'll be like, wow, I'm actually creating my life and I'm living the life I want to live. And that is a creator, not a victim. Okay, friends? Thank you very much and see you soon.